Your Honor. My name is Philip Almeida, and I have my wife Shannon Almeida with me. We're the parents of Joshua. First of all, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to speak in front of you in a court, the people here, the families. And, it was when we were given the opportunity, when you said that yesterday, that we can speak, it's kind of jumbled. How are we going to talk? What are we going to address? Because this whole time we've always felt that we've been silenced. That day, over 2 years ago, yes, it was brought up that Bree was, lost. Both families have been affected by this. And like I said, it's been one of those that we feel that it was just always one-sided. But thank you for the opportunity. I have a letter prepared that Shannon primarily drew up that I'll speak to afterwards. But it's kind of one of those things, like I said, that the items that were brought up, some of them were hearsay. Some of them were, third-person discussions. You have the evidence in front of you, Your Honor. Sitting down listening to Dr. Zelig, how he was having discussions about how he went to go evaluate Joshua. I had to kind of sit back and really think, we all think our parents and our families are nuts. Some have more crazier family members than others. But, kind of one of the ones that really touched me, that I could really relate to, was kind of that flat feeling. I carry my emotions, but they're inside. And I know Joshua does the same exact thing as well. It's one of those, I'm not expert, you just don't really see it. When I saw in the newspaper many years back how it was brought up that, the Almeidas, his parents were sitting back there with zero emotion. I'm sorry, my wife was over here crying, throughout this whole process. I'm kind of methodical, sit back, take in the information, look at both sides on everything, and be as partial as possible. I mean, yes, he is my son. I love him dearly. We both love him. We both love Bree dearly. Like I said, it's one of those that you may not see emotion in me. That's just who I am, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry that people misconstrue that as not giving a damn, not caring. It's here. It affects me more when I hear my family members, crying. And I really noticed that one time when my grandfather, who was 6'2", 220 pounds, and when he passed away, he was about 95 pounds, curled up. He had a stroke and just dwindled down. Dwindled to nothing. But my point was, it was with the family members it really affected me. I love Bree. I love Joshua. I love my wife. One of the issues I wanted to bring up was kind of what Mr. Myolis talked about, was about how Joshua was his dealings in jail, and while he was in the court over here when a needle was found in his cell. Or a syringe, was it? A syringe was found. Well, syringes aren't just for administering drugs. They're also for administering tattoos. And if anybody's checked, my son there's been zero evidence on any positive UAs that he's had while he's been in there. And he's had numerous. He's actually been tested for, Hep C, because of things, we're blessed that it's negative. So just to say that it's used for drugs doesn't always mean that that's what the needle's there for, things like that. We gotta look at what are all the possibilities.
We know that emotion is a big part of this, and statements today that were made were based on when Joshua was under the influence of alcohol. And that is a big part of the borderline personality disorder that we have recently learned. The third-party statements are hearsay. not actually factual, and everybody keeps saying that Joshua is awful. He's not always awful. When he's on alcohol and drinking, he is very self-deprivating, yes. And we have tried to direct him into the appropriate avenues. We tried to get him to see a counselor, and he chose that's not what worked for him. As an adult, it's hard to get your adult to go to the treatment programs that we would like him to do. But, Your Honor, if he was so bad, why did they allow her to spend every day with us? You know, I never met Butch and Cindy until April of the year this happened. And her father asked me, when are you going to let her move in with you? So obviously Joshua wasn't that bad, you know? We did have boundaries in our home. We had no idea that Joshua was continued drinking. He was following through with his Aquila program. He was working hard. I had no idea that he had a weapon. I had no idea he was drinking. I had no reason to suspect him. There was an incident, yes, that was addressed, I think, in the court paperwork. But we saw Bree almost every day of their relationship. You know, if people in her work suspected that she was being abused, they're under a medical obligation to testify and mandatory report that, just as I am in my profession. But no one ever did. No one ever said anything. You know, I had no suspicion of that. We loved her, and we know that alcohol has always been a problem with Joshua for a few years, from about 17, and we really tried to push him in the direction to get the treatment that he needed. But as an adult, you can't force that person to do that. We wanted him to seek inpatient treatment. We actually set it up several times, but he found his identity in his work. And he couldn't give that up because that was the one part of him that he felt was good. We stand here today we didn't enable him, Your Honor. We really tried to help him get the help that he needed. And we supported him because we love him. He's our son, you know. We loved Brianna. She was an important part of our home. You know, she was a significant part of our family. We spent 1.5 years learning from her and loving her. We treasured her like she was our own. Bree was sweet. She was strong. She was kind. She would always say, I never want to be a burden to you. That's why I go visit Joshua. She didn't want to just be around our house all the time when Joshua wasn't there. They wanted to spend time together. She was a joy. She made us laugh all the time, like her mom said. She was the funniest person. Joshua was a better person because of their relationship, for sure. Bree approached us, actually, myself, about moving into our home with our family because of some complications she was having at home. And we were in the discussion process. And the reason why I didn't say yes right away is because the two of them asked me when Philip was gone if she could move in, and I didn't think that was quite fair because Phil was just home. He could have asked us together. I think I wanted them to come up with some kind of proposal to tell us, you know, what would her moving in with us involve before we made that decision. So their relationship was moving in a new direction. It was growing. We never witnessed any discord between Joshua and Brianna. Never. They were extremely happy. They were in love. They wanted to be with each other and with our family all the time. We have over 100 photos of them together throughout their relationship in just 1.5 years. rezone words the day before this happened to us, and I think you have those messages, were that she was happiest when she was with me, my husband, and my son. We were an extension. We weren't her family, but we were a part of her life. So we became an extension of her family because we loved her, and we still do. We will carry her beautiful curly memory with us always. Our pain is heavy. Only knowing her for a short time, but we can only imagine the grief and the pain that the Moores feel. And we are empathetic because we loved her so much. I can only imagine how they felt. I have replayed that scenario in my mind of the police having to go tell her parents that she was gone. And I feel awful for that. I can't imagine what that felt like, and I've always thought about that, and it makes me sad, and it hurts my heart, and I wish I could change it, but I can't. There was nothing of that day that seemed out of the unordinary. It was a perfect day. They came home together. Joshua asked if she could spend the night. And I said, of course. I was doing some homework. I never heard them fight or argue or anything. I just woke up to those, as you heard the tape. But Your Honor, a lot has been said, and it's very emotional, and I understand that, and I'm sorry that things have been portrayed, in a way that wasn't necessarily representative of their entire day-to-day activity. And I stand here just asking that you consider Dr. Zelig's mental health assessment and diagnosis of borderline personality disorder for Joshua. That has provided us a lot of insight and direction for us when there previously wasn't any direction for us. I tried to take Joshua, and they said they wouldn't help him till he got his substance abuse under control. And that was something he had to choose to do. We now have a better understanding of what his dual diagnosis and recognize Joshua needs additional help. And we're willing to do whatever it takes to assist him in getting better and providing the help that he needs. Phil has already conducted an online search for clinical psychologists in Seward and in Juneau. And of course, we'll be in the process of contacting them to see if they're willing to treat or work with patients who are in the prison system. Every day, this all seems unreal. As if we're walking, like on a spongy floor of a dream. But reality always draws us back in. The day-to-day life without both of them, as her mom said, is hard. It becomes so authentic and raw. It's an unspeakable tragedy, for sure, for all of us. But true character shows when one can find something to love in a child or person everyone else hates. And Joshua is not a lost cause. He is still our son, and we want him to overcome his mental health and substance issues. We are committed to helping Joshua now that we understand and know which treatment direction to take, and hope that he can get that, and you will allow us to help him get that. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Was there anyone else, Mr. Lee?
No, I don't believe there's anybody else, Judge. I guess one of the things is do we want to take up, you know, the aggravators and some of the issues, or are we just going to make arguments on both sides and you're going to decide later on? Or, I mean, it might be helpful to argument to know what we're looking at. At least it would be helpful for me.
I was hoping to have you both include those issues in your arguments, so I know what, at least what weight to put to them and whether or not to so I know how to address them in my findings. I mean, you've conceded many of them, if not
Some of them have, yeah.
some of them, and I think you should just address them in your respective arguments.
That's fine. And then I guess the second thing is we're close to, and I don't know what your plan is today, or for taking a break for lunch. If your plan is to do so, I suspect this is probably a pretty good time.
I'm indifferent, Judge. The one thing that we still have not done, and I think it's going to be very quick, is any changes to the PSR itself. I don't know if that's something we can take up before we break for lunch, and then
And that's fine.
I'm amenable to anything the court would like to do.
And that's fine by me taking it. I think the only issue that with the PSR is this 2 sentencing memorandums attached to them, and especially that.
And the
OCR.
date on, you had one issue in your brief was just the correction of the date
Right.
that he was incarcerated. That's real simple.
Yeah, that's fine. I think the other, I don't think I had any objections to the pre-sentence report.
You did not.
I think they're all letters, except for the 2 sentencing memorandums.
I agree they should not be included.
So if you'll take those out,
I will.
then I don't think we have any other issues, and we could go straight into.
Very, very brief issues. I discovered just 2 things since I've written my sentencing memorandum that
Okay.
I just want to address. So can we do that now, Judge?
Yep.
It'd be very quick. On page 5 of the factual summary.
Let me get there. Hold on.
Okay.
Mr. Lambert, do you have your copy?
Yeah.
All right, page 5.
Page 5, and we're talking about, do you see where the parentheses shows Caddyshack in the middle of the page on the right?
Yes.
So 2 lines down from that, there's a sentence that starts, they were drinking Captain Morgan's rum mixed with the X Energy drink.
Correct.
I would ask that that be changed. There's actually no evidence, and it's actually evidence to the contrary, that Bree was consuming anything, so that it just say Joshua Almeida was drinking those things, and eliminate the implication that Bree was drinking alcohol.
Was there any evidence, in fact, that he was drinking X Energy?
Yes, there was. It was
Okay.
one of the things that he had told, and quite honestly, Judge, it's something I'm going to talk about, is that there was a can of that sitting out in the common area where the TV was
Okay.
when we did the crime scene, so yes.
That's fine, Judge. Changing that to say Mr. Alameda was drinking. Or Joshua, whatever words you want to use.
Got it.
Okay, the only other thing, Judge, is that included in the criminal history, I have not understood exactly why this happens, but I discovered in reading the material that was provided by Dr. Zaley that Mr. Almeida actually had a minor consuming in 1999 that's not included in his criminal history. Apparently, when you run Absent and you look in any number of databases, those things don't show up. It was relevant for Dr. Zaley's purposes. I would just ask that it be included. I can provide to the PSR writer the specific date of the conviction, but he had a 1999 minor consuming alcohol he pled guilty to and was convicted of.
He would have been 8 years old then.
I'm sorry. I think it's
2009?
2009. I believe, yes, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Okay.
When he was 18.
I have not seen that, Judge, but if the fact of the matter is he had that as a 18-year-old, I mean, it is what it is. But I have not seen anything indicating that, but if that's the case, then
One of the things that the PO is telling me, Ms. Kiefer is telling me, is that she believes that it may have been set aside. I would still like it to be included because of the history implications for when the substance abuse began, especially in Mr. Almeida's situation.
I'm not objecting to it, Judge, I'm just saying I don't have any information about it.
Sure.
Is it correct if on page 21, on the section labeled juvenile, the section reads, "A check with the Anchorage Division of Juvenile Justice reveals a 2008 minor consuming. The conviction was subsequently set aside."
I guess you caught it, Judge. I actually didn't see that, but yes, that's what I'm referring to. So if it's already in there and I missed it,
No, that's what I'm saying. It
Oh,
should
I'm
be
sorry.
corrected to be.
yes, Judge, that would be fine. I believe it's 2008. I can confirm the date for sure. I thought I brought that paper with me and I don't have it.
Will you check, Ms. Kiefer, and let me
Yes,
know?
I can print out the court view, but it would have been dealt by the juvenile authorities at all. So
Oh.
it would have gone through the court.
Oh, okay.
It would be probably better to put it in the adult section at the end.
Okay.
And note that he was a minor.
Okay,
Typically, those are dealt with in downstairs and through B2.
okay.
They're usually held down there.
Those are my only corrections, Judge.
Let's break until 1:15 then.
Can I leave stuff here again, Judge?
Absolutely.